everybody, it's Chari here today, and I'm going to be making a card with these silhouette stamps from lawnfawn, the Stay Tuned set and the Dad's Day set. And the inspiration for this project is a painting that's in a local burger place here that is slats of wood painted different colors, and then there's a mustache over top of it. So I'm going to be making some little mini cards, some square mini cards. So I'm cutting my paper down to 6 inches by 3 inches, and I'm going to cut 2 of them. I'm going to score them at the 3-inch mark, and then I can fold them in half and have a little 3-inch by 3-inch card. And I'm just going to, when I fold them in half, I like to use my bone folder, make sure that folds nice and crisp. So what I'm going to do is use up some scrap pieces of paper. This little project is great for scrap pieces of paper. So I have some scrap solid cardstock here in various colors, and they're all from the Basil Card Shop collection. So I want to leave a 1/4 inch border all the way around my image, and that leaves a 2.5 inch square in the middle. So I'm going to cut my strips down to 2.5 inches long. And then I'm going to cut each one to be 1/2 inch wide. And I have 5 colors here, so then 5 of them across will equal 2.5. So it'll make a 2.5 inch square. So I'm going to cut 2 strips of each color because I'm going to be making 2 cards. So I have an orange, yellow, green, a teal, and a purple. So now that I have all my pieces cut, I'm just going to speed up my process here of figuring out what order I wanted them in. So I kind of moved them around trying to break up the colors. That purple one really stands out, so I'm going to put it in the center. And then to hold them all together, I just have a piece of scrap paper from a small legal pad. I'm going to cut it down to a 2.25 inch square, so that is slightly smaller than the 2.5 inch square that I want to make out of my strips. You can see I marked the center of it there. And I'm putting some adhesive on the back of the strips and just adhering it down to the paper. You can put the adhesive on the strips, you can put it on the paper, like I did right there. Either way will work. In this way, the strips of paper just act as a cohesive piece, and it makes it really easy to glue it down to the base card. Now, since the inspiration for my card was the mustache painted across the strips of color, I am going to, of course, stamp the mustache from Dad's Day. And I want to heat emboss it so it stands out. It's nice and shiny, so I'm adding some powder from the embossing tool there. And I'm going to use the VersaFine black ink to emboss with. So I like to use the VersaFine ink. It's nice and sticky. It's oil-based. And then you can stamp in black, get a really nice impression, and use clear embossing powder over top, because I've never had really great luck with black embossing powder personally. So sorry I went off camera, but I have in that tub up there is my clear embossing powder. And then I'm just going to use this paintbrush to kind of brush away the extra little pieces that stuck to the paper where there was no ink. And then you can just use your heat tool to heat that up and emboss it. Now, I kind of made a little mistake, and I should have done this before adhering my little strips down to the base, because I kind of have a little warping there. And I'm grabbing the You Rock sentiment from the Stay Tuned set, and that's the sentiment I'm going to stamp under there. I thought it fit nicely. It's about the same width of that mustache, and it just balances out really nice. So you can kind of see how those strips of paper are warping up a little bit there. I'm usually pretty picky about embossing. I usually try to do it and then glue stuff down to the card base, which is what I'm going to do on my second card here. So I've already glued the strips to the little scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to do my embossing before putting it on the card base. And for the second card, I'm going to use the little radio image from Stay Tuned. I'm going to do the same process here, stamp it in the black ink, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment as well. And then I'm just going to add the clear embossing powder. I remembered to put it on camera for you that time. And then I'm going to heat emboss it. And when you do it this way, it doesn't really matter if the pieces of paper warp a little, because you're going to adhere them down to a card base that didn't get heated at all. So that's typically what I do. Just got a little ahead of myself before. So I'm going to add adhesive to all sides, make sure it's good and stuck down. Now to finish it off and to add a little interest, what I thought I would do is add a little hand-drawn thin frame around each panel. So I'm getting out my Copic multi-liner pens here, and I'm just testing it to make sure that was the thickness I wanted. I believe this one is the 0.5. And I'm just going to draw a little thin hand-drawn frame just slightly inset from the outside of my colored block. And I like to do 2 lines and kind of make them a little wavy with each other so it looks a little messy and imperfect on purpose. And then I have some little craft 3" by 3" envelopes that these are going to fit perfectly in and make great little gift cards. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.